You've been told you're just a body, a solid physical thing moving through space and time. Born, living, aging, dying, simple as that. But what if I told you that's not true? What if I told you that the most fundamental truth about who you are has been hidden in plain sight? Not by some conspiracy, but by a 300-year-old worldview that science itself has already disproven. I know you've tried to change. Maybe you've attempted to lose weight, to break a bad habit, to manifest a better relationship, to finally feel in control of your life. You set intentions, you made vision boards, you repeated affirmations in the mirror, and yet here you are, still stuck, still struggling, still wondering why nothing seems to stick. Here's what almost nobody tells you. You've been working with the wrong operating system. You've been trying to change your life using Newtonian physics in a quantum universe. It's like trying to run the latest software on a computer from 1995. It simply won't work. But here's where it gets stunning. There's a series of experiments, peer-reviewed, replicated, published in scientific journals that prove beyond doubt that you are not who you think you are, that you have capacities you've never been taught to use, that the boundary between your thoughts and physical reality is far thinner than anyone ever told you. In the next 30 minutes, I'm going to show you who you really are at the deepest level. Not philosophically, not spiritually in some vague sense, but scientifically, precisely. With evidence, you can verify yourself. And once you see it, once you really see it, you can never unsee it. Ready? Let's go deeper. Let me ask you something. When you look at your hand right now, what do you see? You see something solid, right? Skin, bone, matter, real, tangible, separate from everything around it. That's what we've all been taught. That's the Newtonian worldview, the lens through which most of us still see reality. Here's how that worldview works. You are a body. That body exists in space and time. It's separate from other bodies, other objects, the environment around you. You move through life as this isolated unit, bumping into things, reacting to external circumstances that happen to you, circumstances you have little control over. In this model, if you want to change your life, you have to physically do something. You have to take action in the material world, push harder, work longer, force change through sheer effort and willpower. And this is why most people fail. Not because they're lazy, not because they lack discipline, but because they're operating from a model of reality that is, quite literally, outdated. René Descartes, in the 17th century, drew a hard line between mind and matter. He said they were separate. Isaac Newton built on that, describing a universe that operates like a machine, predictable, mechanical, determined by forces outside of you. But here's the thing. That worldview, the one you and I were raised with, the one still taught in most schools, was shattered over 100 years ago. In the early 1900s, a group of physicists made discoveries so strange, so unsettling, that even they didn't want to believe them at first. They discovered that at the smallest, most fundamental level of reality, at the level of atoms and subatomic particles, nothing works the way we thought it did. Matter isn't solid. Particles don't follow predictable paths. And most importantly, the observer, the person looking, measuring, paying attention, actually affects what happens. This was the birth of quantum physics, and it changed everything. It revealed that the universe isn't a machine. It's a field, a vast, invisible, interconnected field of energy and information. And you're not separate from that field. You are the field, observing itself, creating itself, collapsing infinite possibilities into the reality you experience. So here's my question for you. What would change in your life if you stopped living as a Newtonian object and started living as a quantum being? Let's find out. Here's the truth that will reframe everything. You are not matter. You are energy. Let me say that again. You, your body, your cells, your DNA, are not solid material objects. You are organized fields of energy and information. Let's break this down. Every solid object you see, your phone, your desk, your own hand, is made of atoms. That's basic science, right? But here's what they didn't emphasize in school. An atom is 99.9999% empty space. If you could see an atom up close, you'd see a tiny nucleus at the center, so small that if the atom were the size of a football stadium, the nucleus would be the size of a peanut sitting on the 50-yard line. And then, way out in the stands, you'd have a few electrons zipping around. Everything in between? Nothing. Emptiness. Pure space. So if atoms are 99.9999% empty space, and your body is made of atoms, then what does that make you? It makes you 99.9999% energy and 0.00001% physical matter. You are not a solid thing. You are a pattern, a wave of frequency, a field of organized information held together by an invisible force. But here's where it gets radical. Quantum physicists discovered something called the observer effect. They found that subatomic particles, electrons, photons, the building blocks of reality, don't exist in a fixed state until they are observed. Before observation, an electron exists as a wave of probability, meaning it's everywhere and nowhere at once, existing in infinite possible states simultaneously. It's only when a conscious observer measures it, looks at it, pays attention to it, that the wave collapses into a particle, into a single fixed point in space and time. Do you understand what this means? It means that matter, the physical world you see around you, doesn't exist independently of consciousness. Consciousness and matter are entangled. Your attention, your awareness, your focus, these are not passive. They are creative. You are not observing reality, you are collapsing it into existence. Now, I know this sounds abstract. I know it challenges everything you've been taught. But stay with me, because this is where it gets practical. If particles exist as waves of possibility until observed and your body is made of particles, then what does that say about you? It says that you too are a field of infinite possibility. At the quantum level, you are not fixed, you are not determined, you are not the product of your past, your genes, your circumstances. You are potential, pure unmanifested potential, and the version of you that shows up in physical reality, the you that you experience as yourself, is simply the possibility you've been observing most consistently. Think about that. The self you experience right now, your habits, your personality, your limitations, is not the only version of you that exists. It's just the one you've been collapsing into form through repeated attention. There are infinite other versions of you in the quantum field, versions where you're healthy, confident, abundant, living the life you've been dreaming about. Those versions are not fantasies, they are possibilities, real existing possibilities in the quantum field, waiting for you to observe them into being. So the question is not, can I change? The question is, which version of me am I going to choose to collapse into reality today? Now, I know some of you are thinking, this sounds incredible, but is there proof? Can we actually measure this? Has anyone tested whether human consciousness can influence physical matter? The answer is yes, and the experiment I'm about to share with you is going to blow your mind. Let's talk about DNA. In the 1990s, a scientist named Dr. Glenn Rain conducted a series of experiments at the HeartMath Research Center in California. His goal was simple but profound: to test whether human intention and emotion could directly affect biological matter. He chose DNA as the test subject. Why DNA? Because it's incredibly stable. If consciousness could influence something as stable and structured as the human genome, that would be undeniable proof of the mind-matter connection. Here's how the experiment worked. Dr. Rain took samples of human DNA and placed them in test tubes. Then he recruited individuals, some trained in techniques to generate specific emotional states, others not, and had them hold the test tubes in their hands for 2 minutes. 2 minutes. That's it. Their task? To mentally intend for the DNA strands to either wind tighter or unwind, to physically change the structure of the DNA using only their thoughts and emotions. Now, if you believe in the old Newtonian model, that mind and matter are separate, this should be impossible. Thoughts are just electrochemical signals in the brain. DNA is a physical molecule. They shouldn't be able to interact, right? But that's not what happened. Dr. Rain divided the participants into 3 groups. Group 1 was trained to generate elevated emotions, specifically feelings of love and gratitude. They were told to open their hearts, to feel deeply, to cultivate the highest emotional state they could. But, and this is critical, They were not given a specific intention. They were just told to feel good. After 2 minutes, they measured the DNA. Result? No statistically significant change. Interesting, right? Positive emotion alone wasn't enough. Feeling good, feeling grateful, feeling love, none of it changed the DNA. There was no effect, so emotion by itself doesn't do it. Let's see what happened with Group 2. Group 2 was given the opposite task. They were told to hold a clear, focused intention, to mentally direct the DNA to wind or unwind. But they were instructed not to enter an emotional state. No love, no gratitude, just cold, focused thought, mental willpower. After 2 minutes, they measured the DNA again. Result? No change, zero effect. So now we have a paradox. Emotion alone doesn't work, intention alone doesn't work. What's missing? Group 3 was told to do both. They were trained to enter a state of elevated emotion, love, gratitude, joy, while simultaneously holding a clear intention for the DNA to change. Heart and mind working together. Emotion and thought unified into a single coherent signal. After 2 minutes, they measured the DNA, and this time, the results were undeniable. The DNA changed, not a little, not marginally. It unwound or wound up by as much as 25% in 2 minutes. Without physical touch, without chemicals, without any external intervention, just consciousness, just a human being holding a coherent state of being. Sit with that for a moment. In 2 minutes, a thought combined with an emotion changed the physical structure of DNA, the blueprint of life itself. Here's what this tells us. The quantum field, the invisible field of energy and information that makes up all of reality, doesn't respond to what you want. It doesn't respond to your wishes, your hopes, your positive thinking alone. It responds to who you are being. When your thoughts and emotions are aligned, when your mind is clear about what it wants and your heart is feeling the emotion of already having it, you generate a coherent electromagnetic signal. And that signal broadcasts into the quantum field like a radio frequency. And the field listens. The field responds. The field rearranges matter to match the signal you're sending. So let me ask you this. If a state of being, 2 minutes of coherent thought and emotion can change DNA, what could it do to your health, your relationships, your bank account, your entire life? But here's the problem. Most people never achieve coherence. Their thoughts say one thing, their emotions say another, and the signal they send into the field? It's noise, static contradiction. Let me show you why and how to fix it. Here's the truth most people don't want to hear. You are manifesting, right now, every single moment. You're just not manifesting what you want, you're manifesting what you are. And what you are, most of the time, is incoherent. Let me explain. Your brain generates thoughts, electrical impulses that can be measured on an EEG. Your heart generates emotions, electromagnetic fields that extend several feet beyond your body and can be measured with sensitive equipment. When your thoughts and emotions are aligned, when they're saying the same thing, you create what's called coherence. A unified signal, a clear frequency. But when your thoughts say, I want to be wealthy, and your emotions are screaming, I'm scared I'll never have enough, you create incoherence, mixed signals, static. And here's what most people do. They sit down to meditate or visualize. They think about what they want. They imagine the dream house, the perfect partner, the thriving business. Their thoughts are focused. But the whole time their body is feeling lack, anxiety, unworthiness, fear. The emotions are completely misaligned with the intention, and the quantum field doesn't respond to your thoughts alone. It doesn't respond to your emotions alone. It responds to the coherent combination of both. So when you're thinking abundance but feeling scarcity, the field receives a garbled message. And it gives you more of what you're actually broadcasting, which is scarcity. This is why most people fail at manifestation. Not because the law of attraction is fake, not because they didn't visualize hard enough, but because they never achieved coherence. They never unified their mind and heart into a single, clear state of being. Now you might be thinking, okay, but how do I create coherence? How do I align my thoughts and emotions? That's the question. And the answer is simpler than you think. But it requires something most people are unwilling to do. It requires you to change your state of being before the external reality changes. Most people wait. They say, I'll feel grateful when I get the money. I'll feel joyful when I meet the partner. I'll feel confident when I lose the weight. But that's backwards. That's Newtonian thinking. That's living as if the external world causes your internal state. In a quantum universe, it's the opposite. Your internal state, your state of being, causes the external world, and you don't wait for the reality to feel the emotion. You feel the emotion first and the reality follows, and that's uncomfortable. Because it means you have to feel wealthy before the bank account reflects it. You have to feel loved before the partner shows up. You have to feel healthy before the body heals. You have to become it first. But here's the stunning part. When you do this, when you generate the emotion of the desired outcome before it happens, you're not faking it. You're not lying to yourself. You're tuning into a version of you that already exists in the quantum field. You're collapsing that probability wave into form. You're pulling that future into your present. So the question becomes, how do you actually do this? How do you shift your state of being? How do you create coherence in your daily life? Let me show you. All right. This is where we get practical. This is where philosophy becomes practice. This is where knowing becomes doing. Because information without application is just entertainment. And I don't want to entertain you. I want to transform you. Here's the process. It has 3 core steps, and if you do this consistently, every single day you will change. Not because I said so, but because the physics demands it. Step 1. Generate an elevated emotion. Not any emotion, not just feeling good. I'm talking about the emotions that exist at the highest frequencies. Love, gratitude, joy, awe, inspiration. Why these? Because research shows that these emotions create coherence in your heart rhythm. When you feel genuine gratitude, your heart begins to beat in a smooth, ordered, harmonious pattern. And when your heart is coherent, it sends a powerful electromagnetic signal into the field. So how do you generate elevated emotion? Here's the simple method. Sit quietly, close your eyes, place your attention on your heart center, the area in the middle of your chest, and then begin to recall a memory, any memory where you felt profound gratitude or love. Maybe it's the moment you held your child for the first time. Maybe it's a sunset that took your breath away. Maybe it's the feeling of being deeply seen and accepted by someone you love. Don't just think about it. Feel it. Relive it. Let the emotion wash over you. Let it fill your chest. Let it radiate out from your heart. This is not positive thinking. This is not affirmations. This is physiology. You are literally changing the electromagnetic field your heart is producing. You are tuning your instrument. Step 2. Hold a clear intention. While you're in this elevated emotional state, bring to mind a clear picture of what you want to create. Not vague, not wishy-washy, specific. See it, feel it, imagine it as if it's already real. Not someday, not in the future, now. What does it look like? What does it feel like? Who are you in that reality? How do you move? How do you speak? What energy do you carry? The quantum field responds to specificity. So get detailed. If you want a new relationship, don't just say, I want love. See the person, feel their presence, imagine the conversations, the laughter, the intimacy, the safety. If you want financial abundance, don't just say, I want money. See the bank account, feel the relief, the freedom, the generosity you can now express, the choices you can now make. But here's the trick, and this is where most people mess up. You're not imagining it as a future event. You're imagining it as a present reality. Because in the quantum field, all possibilities exist now. The version of you that's already living that reality exists now. You're not creating something new. You're selecting it. You're tuning into it. Step 3. Merge them. This is the magic. This is where alchemy happens. You take the elevated emotion from step 1 and the clear intention from step 2, and you fuse them together. You feel the gratitude of already having it. You feel the joy of already being it. You feel the love of already living it. Not someday, not when it shows up. Now. And in that moment, when your heart and mind are unified, when your emotion and intention are coherent, when you are being the future you before it arrives, you collapse the wave. You send a signal into the quantum field so clear, so strong, so coherent, that the field has no choice but to respond. You become a magnet, and the reality you're tuned into begins to reorganize itself around you. Now, how long should you do this? Ideally, 15 to 20 minutes every morning. Before you check your phone, before you step into the chaos of the day, before your environment hijacks your attention and pulls you back into your old self. And here's the challenge. The first few times you do this, it's going to feel awkward. Your mind is going to wander. You're going to doubt. You're going to think, am I doing this right? Is this even working? That's normal. That's your old operating system resisting the upgrade. But if you stay with it, if you practice this every single day, even when you don't feel like it, even when you don't see results yet, you will change. Because you're not waiting for the external world to give you permission to feel good. You're generating the state first. You're becoming the signal. You're collapsing the quantum wave through sheer coherence. And here's what you'll start to notice. Synchronicities, opportunities, chance encounters, things that seem like coincidences but happen far too often to be random. That's not luck. That's the field responding to your signal. That's the quantum you, pulling your desired reality into form. Remember, the field doesn't care what you want. It responds to who you're being. So if you want a new life, you have to become a new person first, not through force, not through hustle, but through coherence, through alignment, through choosing every single day to be the version of you that already has what you desire. Now, before we close, I want to leave you with one final thought. One question that will change everything if you're willing to sit with it. Let's go there. So let me ask you again, who are you at the deepest level? You are not your body. We've established that. Your body is 99.9999% empty space, a swirling field of energy held together by invisible forces. You are not your past. Your past is just a collapsed wave, one set of probabilities that you observed into being. But it doesn't define the future. The quantum field doesn't care what happened yesterday. It only responds to the signal you're sending now. You are not your job, not your bank account, not your relationship status, not your accomplishments, not your failures. These are just experiences. Temporary patterns, waves that rose and fell. At the deepest level, you are consciousness itself. You are the observer collapsing infinite possibilities into singular experiences. You are the field aware of itself, creating itself, experiencing itself. You are not in the universe, you are the universe, localized into a single point of awareness. And if that's true, if you are the observer, the creator, the field, then you are not a victim of circumstance. You are not at the mercy of external forces. You are not trapped by your biology, your history, or your current conditions. You are free, radically, completely free. But freedom comes with responsibility. Because if you're the one collapsing the wave, if you're the one broadcasting the signal, then the life you're living right now, you created it. Not consciously, maybe, not intentionally, but through the accumulated momentum of your habitual thoughts, emotions, and states of being, you have been collapsing this reality into form. And that's actually good news. Because if you created this reality, you can create a different one. You can choose a new thought, a new emotion, a new state of being. And in doing so, you can collapse a new wave, a new probability, a new life. So the question is not, who are you? The question is, who are you choosing to become? Because in a quantum universe, you are not a fixed entity. You are a process, a becoming, a continuous act of creation. And every morning, you get to choose. Which version of you will you observe into being today? Which probability will you collapse? Which reality will you tune into? You are the quantum you, infinite, powerful, free. The only question left is, what will you do with that power? If you've made it this far, I know something has shifted in you. You feel it, don't you? That little spark of recognition, that quiet voice saying, yes, This is true, this is real. That's not me convincing you. That's you remembering what you've always known. Here's what I want you to do. If this resonated, if you felt even a flicker of alignment with these ideas, I want you to hit that subscribe button, not for me, for you, because this is just the beginning. This is the doorway. And on the other side, there's an entire community of people who are learning to live as quantum beings, who are collapsing new realities, who are becoming the signal. And I want to hear from you. Right now, in the comments, drop one word, just one word, that captures the state of being you're choosing to embody. Maybe it's abundance, maybe it's love, maybe it's freedom. One word, let it be your declaration, your signal into the field. And if you're ready to go even deeper, if you want to learn the step-by-step process, the exact techniques, the precise methods for actually creating your reality from the quantum field, then stay tuned. Because in the next video, The Quantum You, How to Create Your Reality, I'm going to walk you through the complete protocol. Not theory, not philosophy. The actual practice, the moves, the method. This is where knowing becomes doing. You don't want to miss it. Until then, remember this. You are not a victim. You are not powerless. You are not stuck. You are quantum. You are infinite. You are the creator of your reality. Now go out there and collapse the wave. I'll see you in the next one.